answers. So make sure you are doing that each time. So I'm looking at this graph and I'm writing the equation. So first I know, is it a linear graph or an exponential graph? Linear. I can tell because when I see it, it looks like a line. And linear line is in linear, like right there. So I know linear is y equals mx plus b. What did we go over the b is? Y-intercept. So where is your y-intercept on this graph? Beautiful, right there, 5. So I know my y-intercept is going to be 5. Remember, oh, why can I never remember this? It's where your x is 0. Your slope, is it going down or up? Down. So I know my slope is going to be negative. And so I need to figure out my rise over run. So from here to here, I go down how many? 2. Down 2. And then I run 3. Can I reduce that fraction? No. So this is my answer. So this is just a reminder of how to do equations when given a linear graph. Remember, today we're going to be doing exponential, so it's going to be nothing we learned yet. Now, who can raise their hand and tell me which one is this table, exponential or linear? Go for it. It is exponential. Because if I were to subtract, this would be subtract 32, and 32 minus 32 is 0. So if it was linear, this third one would be 0. But it isn't, it's actually exponential. Are the values increasing or decreasing? So 64 to 32, are they getting smaller or bigger? Smaller, so they're decreasing. And exponential, do exponential have slope, Damon? Do exponential have slope or a factor? Do exponential equations have a slope or a factor? A factor. How do I find my factor? Divide it. So you can figure out, okay, what is 2 divided by 4? Not 2.
It is going down. Oh, shit.
It's multiplying by half.
I knew it.
I heard 2. It is dividing by 2. But remember that keep, change, flip in division. So remember, we changed this to a multiplication sign and we flipped that. That's what basically this is. So dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by half. I also taught you that trick where you could just take the last value, 2, divided by the one in front of it, 4, which ends up getting you 0.5 or 1/2. That's what we did last class. Any questions on that? All right, so circle how you feel. We're going to move on.
Yes.
So circle how you feel. Today we're writing equations of graphs, or this period we're writing equations of graphs and tables. So make sure that you're circling how you feel. I do look at that. And then you're going to your notes for today that look something like this. So now you're going to this little packet that looks something like this. And so this is our new y equals mx plus b. This is our exponential function, which is y equals ab to the x. They give you this on your formula sheet. Like they say exponential equation and give you that, but they don't tell you what each thing means. So we are going to be going over that. So first thing is my a. Your a is your initial value now. So write that down. Your a is your initial value, or your y-intercept. So b in this case is not y-intercept. Your a is your initial value, or your y-intercept. Your b is your growth or decay factor. So whatever's being multiplied is your b. So your b is now your growth or decay factor. The x value is just usually, it's just your x value, it's your domain. It usually has to do with time. So again, they give you the equation, they do not give you what each thing means. So So don't get confused. B in slope-intercept form was your y-intercept, but when it's an exponential, B is not that anymore. B is your growth or decay factor. Cool. So I'm going to do the graphs that are underneath that look like this. I'm going to show it to you too. So first is a we do right here. And so what I do personally is I'm just going to make a table. So X and Y. This first point that falls on it is 0, comma what? What is this point? 0, 5. At 1, what's my Y value? At 1, what's my Y value? 10. So I usually write it as a table. You guys were able to find the growth or decay factor and the y-intercept last period. Now we're just plugging it in the formula. So looking at this, I know it's y equals, and my a is my initial value of your y-intercept. What is your y-intercept here? 5. You guys see that? So either looking at this, or you could say, hey, that's where it crosses my y-axis. So instead of a, I'm going to put 5. Your b is your growth or decay factor. So you can either look at this and go, okay, from 5 to 10, what's happening? Or you can divide 10 divided by 5. What do you end up getting? 2. So 2 is your growth factor because you're multiplying by 2. We could also tell it's growing because you could see it's going up, just like if you were to tell by linear. So we could tell it's increasing to the x. And that's how you write the equation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's try the next one. So x and y, I'm going to make my table. And my 2 points are 0, 2, and 1, 6. Who could raise their hand and tell me what would my a be? Raising your hand. Keandra. Yep, how'd you get that? What is it? Good. It's your y-intercept. Remember, oh, why can I never remember my y-intercept? Then I can see, okay, what is it multiplying by? 2 to 6. What's it multiplying by? 3. So I know that would be my growth factor. And then to the x. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, see if you can at least start the table for the next one. Notice it's going to be decay. We can see that because it's going down. So decay, decrease, basically the same thing. So make your table. See if you can identify your y-intercept and your decay factor. So you're trying this third one on your own. We are going to go over it, but you should be trying this one on your own. Same thing we did earlier. Make sure when you write it, -1, 4 should be first, because you always start with the smallest one. So, just in case we got this part wrong, so we'll make the whole thing wrong, what's the smallest y value? Is it 0 or -1? Make sure that goes first, then 0. So what did you end up getting as your y-intercept? What's your a here? What is it? Not 4. It's always OY. It's the same thing, even though it's not first. The y-intercept is when your x is 0. Why can I never remember this? So 2 is my y-intercept. Wherever crosses the y-axis. Then, what's my, now it's going to be decay factor. Not -2. 1/2. How'd you get that? How'd you get it? Dividing by 2 and multiplying by 1/2. Exactly. Or you could have taken 2 divided by 4 in your calculator and got 0.5 or 1/2 as a decimal. So, looking at this right here, what do you notice is the difference between this one right here, that factor, and these factors. What's the difference between like these two factors and this one right here? What do you notice the difference is? Come on. That one's a fraction. These ones are over 1, right? So basically what we're learning is when there is a fraction, right, Damon? Put it away. Hurry, up here. When we have a fraction or a number less than 1 in my growth or decay, that's decay. So automatically I can look at this and know it's decay because it's a fraction that's less than 1. These I can see are over 1, so I know it's going to be growth. Does that make sense? I can also look at the graph and see that it's growing. Cool. Any questions on that? That's half the lesson. The second half of the lesson is writing it from tables, which you did this morning. So I'm going to go to these tables. You already did this morning. Now you're just filling in A and B. So first I look and I go, okay, is it growing or decaying? Looking at this table right here, it's decaying because it's going down, right? So I know that B has got to be something less than 1. What is your A value on this table?
6.
How'd you get that?
0.
Yep, it's your y-intercept. Oh, why can I never remember this? So I know my y-intercept is 6, so I'm going to circle that. How do you get that? Perfect, because if you do it, you're multiplying by 0.5, which is 1/2. If you put 0.5, it's not going to be wrong, but multiple choice questions are usually what we use, and we usually use fractions. So I know because I'm taking half of each one, which is multiplying by half. You could also do the bottom one divided by the one right here, and you would get 0.5 or 1/2. So my full equation would be y equals, what's your A? 6. And then my B, my growth factor, is 1/2 or 0.5 to the x. Be careful to not mess up, not mix up and like put x as like a big constant number. X is always in the exponent. Yeah.
So whenever there's like, you know, in the first one, right, it's a -1
Mm-hmm.
over 0, but there's like -2. Would you divide the 0 by -2 or?
So like right, like if you look at this one right here,
Yeah.
you're talking about something like that. So you always still, to get the B, it doesn't even matter where it is, you always just divide that divided by that.
Right.
Or it doesn't even matter where it is, it's just one in front of the other. And your y-intercept is always when x is 0. Did you guys want to go over one more? These are all exponential too. None of these are going to be linear. So we're just focusing on exponential today. Does anyone need to go over another one? One more. Okay. So looking at this, is it growing or is it decaying? Looking at the y values.
Yeah.
It's growing, right? From 1 to 4 to 16, see they're getting bigger. So I know it's growth. What is it multiplying by? 4. I could also do that divided by that and get 4. So I know my growth factor is 4. What is your A, your initial value? 4 also, right? Because, oh, why can I never remember it? See, that just happens to be 4 too. And then what's always the exponent when I'm writing the equation? What letter? What goes right here? Good. So remember, x in the exponent is exponential. A lot of people miss that little x, and if they do, it's not correct. Cool. So you guys are going to work on this, that's the lesson. You're going to work on this packet just like last class and check your answers up here. Your ticket out the door is going to be the bottom 2 questions. Your ticket out the door looks something like this. So I give you the points here. So I gave you that this was 0, 1. And I think I gave you that this was 1, 2. That's on your paper, right? And this is 2, 4. So here you're writing the equation, and same with the table. There is Delta math homework. We don't have computers today, but the Delta math homework is just the table. So doing the same thing, it'll look like this. It's 5 questions.
let's see.
And just because the Delta Math homework is not due tomorrow does not mean you shouldn't try to do it tonight. Those of you who didn't finish your Delta Math, which most of you did not, you might want to consider keeping up with the Delta Math now instead of waiting until the very last minute to do it.
So right here, real quick, right here, and so unit, you could see, here's unit 4, or that's the retake quiz, but there will be late homework. You only have to do the late homework if you are not happy with your current grade for the homework. So if you want to do the late homework, you can. It replaces that grade. It's not required though. It says 5.2. So this is all you're doing. You're writing the equation. So I know it's y equals, what's my a here? 4. And then what's my growth factor? What's it multiplying by? 2. And then what's always the exponent? Yep. So that's your, I don't know why it's working. That's your Delta Math homework. There's just 5 problems that look like that. This might look a little bit more difficult. How could I get my growth factor? Well, first, what's my a here? 0.2. And then what am I multiplying by? You can always do the last one divided by the one before. Yep, and there's only 5 of those. That's it. Well, this is my page, but these are all already due. So to get the grade, if you don't like the grade you have, you don't have to do any of them. Those are all finished. So like right here, I have, let's see, this is unit 4 Delta Math late homework, so I could put that on. So that's if you need a replacement. But for now, work on the packet and then do your Delta Math. If I want to look up what these look like, this table, how would I do that? Like if I want to look up what these equations look like as a table, what does it look? How do I do that? What device do you have in front of you? Calculator. What button do you press to see a table? Table. And you can type it in and figure out which one goes with which.
Oh.
Yep. So you always can use that for multiple choice questions too. And then here's your ticket out the door. All right. Any